Okay, so we're here, episode 26 of the Grappling with Physio podcast, and we are joined with Jamie Roman Hales. Jamie, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Paul. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. I've just put my stand-up desk into the kind of sitting position, kind of strap myself in for this one and get nice and comfortable and have a good chat. So, Jamie, thanks for coming on.
Great.
We initially know each other a few years ago when I was on site at Jaguar Land Rover running rehab and doing the functional restoration program, and you were one of my patients. And I think you've just been for a shoulder operation, hadn't you?
Yes, I did my rotator cuff, my scapula, and I ruptured several ligaments in my shoulder. So I had what was it now? I think it was some sort of surgery anyway. Some anchors in my shoulder and a couple of screws. And then I was pointed towards yourself to help me back to recovery.
Yeah, we had a good little laugh on that course. It was good stuff. It was great. I always get a little kind of, a little a raise and a bit of excitement when somebody comes in and says they're either a fighter or some sort of combat sportsman. And we were having a good bit of banter because I was training at Lions Gym, which was Gacy Baha, and you were at that particular time, I think, at 10th Planet in Birmingham.
I was in 10th Planet Birmingham, which was Element MMA head coach Nick Broster. I remember the first thing I said to you was it was from a fight. It was an MMA fight I actually did my shoulder. And then he said, "Oh, no way, I did jiu-jitsu." And then it all went from there, really. Then we become really chatty about it. And it was a mutual love of it, wasn't it?
Yeah. So where are you training now?
I train at 10th Planet Redditch. And I do little bits and bobs elsewhere as well. But my main home is 10th Planet Redditch, which is James Wishton.
Okay. I thought you were doing some stuff over at Renegade at some point.
Yeah, I was at Renegade for a while. When it was down in King's Heath. I do go back to Renegade a couple of times a week. I train quite closely with Aidan Lee. He's been helping me sharpen up my stand-up game. As everybody knows, he's got a hell of a stand-up game himself. So he's been working with me really well. For my next fight, which is in March the 5th, back on Golden Ticket Fight Promotions as well again. I look forward to fighting on that. So he's just generally trying to help me sharpen my my tools.
Yeah, well, a great training partner to work with. He's absolutely phenomenal, isn't he? So,
a lovely guy as well. I can't do enough to help me. And as you say, it's people like that. Their knowledge is priceless, really.
Good stuff. How was the recently you had a fight with Jack Beenan from I hope I pronounced that right. Is that hopefully I got his surname correct? Jack, don't hate me if you don't. He's a Lions Gym and Coventry fighter, and you guys were on the last Golden Ticket Fight Promotions. Weren't you back in Wolverhampton?
Yeah, it was. That was I think it was it 5th of December or it was early December anyway. It was a great fight. I mean, I haven't stepped in the cage for a long time. I think it's probably about 2017. I was back in the cage last. It was a big fight for me. As I'm sure we're going to go into in a bit, it had a lot of meaning behind it. And Jack, I mean, what a great guy. First thing he said to me after our fight was he grabbed me and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry about your boy," and he grabbed my head and he touched heads. And so to me, things like that mean the world, and it's what MMA is about, isn't it? Like, we all did the same thing, just at different gyms, and it's just all about respect at the end of the day, isn't it? And to me, that's an ultimate form of respect, and I'll always remember that. And it really touched my heart.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Yeah, he is. He's very he's a nice lad, and you can tell that with his personality. He's an absolute character. So yeah, how was the training camp for that?
It was hard. I started off being very unhealthy in my mind, physically with the food I was eating, and lockdown was hard on everybody, but especially me and my family. Was obviously going to go into about the passing of my son Roman, who unfortunately passed away on the very first day of lockdown, the very first time. So there was me and my wife lost our beautiful little boy. And then we weren't even allowed to leave our house to try and, you know, make kind of not sense of it. So what? But I don't know. We were in a world which was crumbling down between both of us and all of our families, and we weren't even allowed to leave the house. We weren't even allowed to see family. We couldn't hug our mothers, our fathers, our friends. We couldn't even be close to anybody because the government had locked everywhere down due to obviously COVID, which probably made it it couldn't be any worse, to be honest, but I'm sure it made the situation a lot more difficult. So yeah, but as I say,
Jamie, well done, mate. Well done for being able to get that off your chest, buddy. That's I'm sure that wasn't easy.
No, it's never easy to talk about it. I'm a lot more open with it now because you have to be. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
Do you want to take a break, or do you want to?
No, I'm good.
Let's keep going. Okay, so for those essentially that don't know, you did have a young son, Roman Hales.
Yes.
Now, from my perspective, you know, because we stayed in touch after I left the Jaguar Land Rover rehabilitation team, and we stayed in touch on Instagram, and I remember just following you and seeing these pictures and this, you know, gorgeous newborn baby son, and then all of a sudden, you know, it was the tragic news that he'd passed, and it's heartbreaking to think that you had to go through that tragedy, which, you know, as a father of three, I can't imagine the pain and the suffering, but not to be able to get support from your family and your peers.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even go for I don't know, not so much say drown my sorrows, but I couldn't even go to the pub to go and get pissed to try and forget about it, to pass out for an hour. I couldn't leave my home, so I was trapped in a world of, I don't know how to describe it, probably the worst thing you can imagine times that by a million. And then you can't even escape your own domain, and try and escape or try and forget for even 10 minutes because you're not allowed to leave your home. I mean, yes, I mean, it's really, really, really difficult to explain the feeling. The only way I can describe it is you have to have lost the child to understand the feeling, because it's nothing you could even imagine. But saying that, he's my drive to be a better person. He's my drive, you know, to actually, like, from what I see, he wouldn't have wanted his dad to be the way that I was going down in that spiral. I mean, I was drinking ever so heavily. I mean, like, I'm not proud of it, but it's probably the way that I dealt with it. Like, I'd wake up at a certain time every morning, for, like, I think it was about the first 6 weeks, and it's around 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd be up for hours and hours, and all I'd do was drink half a bottle of vodka to go back to sleep because I couldn't take what was going around me. And that was the only way that I could not so much forget, but just get myself to pass out so I could sleep. And then as soon as I wake up, the first breath you take, it's like, and it's like you realise it's the first thing. It still is now, but it's the first thing you think of and the last thing you think of at night. I mean, it still is now, as I say, but it's you learn to cope with it a little bit more. It never gets easy. You just learn to, I know, kind of deal with it, I suppose.
James, did you have any support from work or your GP or any counselling services? Or,
I mean, I was offered counselling, and then I was offered support by work, but I didn't really want to talk about it at the time. I mean, there's a trust which is called the Lullaby Trust, which helps grieving families who their children have passed away from SIDS, which is what Roman passed of, which is what they used to call cot death, which is now called a sudden infant death syndrome. But there's no reason why it happens. As far as I've looked into it, like with a fine tooth comb, and there's no explanation. There's no reason why. It's just while they sleep, or it could be at any time the little heart just stop, go again.
And how did you stop that trend of drinking? At what point? What was the change? How did you come out of it?
I saw myself in the picture with my top off. I don't know where it was, and I thought, wow. And then I looked at myself a little bit more closely, and I thought, he wouldn't want this for you. He wouldn't want this for you at all. I mean, I was shoving my face full of, Chinese, curry, pizzas, McDonald's. I wouldn't cook, alcohol, cigarettes. Like, it's just, there's a massive downward spiral. And then the day after that, I saw my picture. I woke up and I said, no more, which was the best thing which I could have done for myself, really. And then I got in contact with James Whiston, who welcomed me with open arms to 10th Planet Redditch. And then it all went from there, really. I said to James, I'd really like to fight. I'd really like to do this. And I just thought it'd be good for my mental health, good for my well-being, of course, which it was. I mean, I rarely drink, I don't smoke. My diet is, obviously I have my weak points and stuff. As soon as I came out of last fight with Jack, I went and felt my face straight away. It was great.
I think you could be forgiven for that, mate, to be honest with you. What was the weight cut like?
Oh, do you know what? I had an absolute nightmare. You see, because I said, as I say, 97 kilograms. And across my period of training before I actually got in touch with Golden Ticket, James got in touch with Golden Ticket and actually signed me up for a fight. I think I was sitting around 90. And that was with 13 weeks out. And then Jack did me. And I watched his fight with CJ Ward, who's also a Renegade. I had a quick look at him, not too much because I don't like looking at my opponents, because I don't know, I don't like to study them. I just like to do what I do, let them worry about me, not the other way around. So my weight, funny enough, I bought a set of, the ones with the wheel.
Yeah.
But, so basically I was weighing myself on those for my entire fight camp. And little did I know, until the day before, there was 6 kilograms out. The day before my weigh had to be, the heaviest was 74.8. On the Friday in the morning at my friend's gym, I weighed in on his, I think it was like a body scanner or something like that. I was 82. So I was like, oh, shit, what do I do? But yeah, I cut the water. Relatively easy, actually. I thought it'd be a lot harder than it was, but I did just over 12.5 pounds. An 18-hour period. Wasn't great, wasn't ideal, but obviously trying to behave as professionally as possible. I just had to get it done for the fight, really. And yeah, it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't great, but it wasn't pleasant.
James, sorry to be a pain. Let me just hit the pause button for 2 seconds, okay? I'm going to hit pause just on record. Right, so we're back. Apologies about that, James. So the scales basically were wrong, and then you had to do what was a massive water cut right just before it.
Yeah, so it was. I stopped eating and drinking probably about, I think it was about 2 o'clock, day before the weigh-in. And yeah, Epsom salts, sauna soup, 5-mile run, then another bath, then sleep. And I woke up from being 81.2, woke up the next morning at 77. So I only had so I literally had probably about 2.5 key to do, which I did again. So I was doing another bath. Got there the way in 12 o'clock, and I was banging away at 74.8 or 74.9 I was. So yeah, it wasn't pleasant, but I did it. So
yeah, good stuff. How did you feel? Now there's a lot of questions I've got to ask, obviously previously, that we're going to go through, but how did you feel mentally, and I suppose physically as well? How did you, because you'd had such a long hiatus in between your last fight. How did you feel? Let's concentrate on the mental aspect. How did you feel mentally going in there?
Mentally prepared. I was calm. I was ready. Like, I knew that I'd had a great fight camp. I was probably best shape of my life. I mean, first time in my life I had abs. It was it was great. I mean, yeah, I was similar size to Jack as well at the weigh-in. I thought he'd be taller than me actually, which I was slightly worried about. But yeah, he's got long limbs and stuff. But yeah, I was calm. I was ready. Warmed up great. Yeah, I felt good. And yeah, mentally I was on point.
Good stuff. And the first round was pretty good, wasn't it? It was a bit of even. It was even both way.
Yeah, I'd say it was even. I'd say he got one more takedown on me, which was the very last one, the last round. I'd say I landed more shots than him. Slightly a bit more damage and controlled a bit more. But I'd say it was very, very even. And I'd say, probably being biased to me, that I edged that round just slightly. But I'm sure he probably said the same thing too.
Yeah.
But very, very, very close round. I felt that I belonged there with him. I mean, hats off to him. He's a great fighter, really strong, great stand-up. And as everyone saw, great kicks.
Yeah, which is obviously, that was the finisher, wasn't it, in round two?
I mean, the first one took, it wasn't that bad, but the second one I saw he was going to throw straight away, and he leant back slightly a bit, so I thought he was going for the head. So as everyone could see, like I've covered up straight like that, which clearly exposed the rib, which was with the fight ender. I mean, everybody heard it. It sounded like a lasso whip. It was, you could hear it at the other side of the bar. It was a great kick. Fair play to him. It got me. You get caught. And yeah, that is what it is. And it was a great finish from him. So congratulations to him on that.
The problem is, you know, around that particular area, you know, there's not a lot of muscle. It's just bone. And if you take a shot, boxers suffer with it. You know, boxers, when they get hit around there, you know, as well as MMA fighters, kickboxers, etc. If it cracks and the rib cracks, it's, you know, it's stopping you from being able, that ability to take a deep breath and recover within 10 seconds and get back on your feet.
Yeah, well, I certainly felt I had one cracked rib. I thought I had two. I had a cracked rib, and the other one was just bruised. But we're all good now. But yeah, as I say, it was. I certainly felt it as we saw.
Yeah. So you're fighting again.
Yeah, I'm fighting again on the same promotion, Golden Ticket, on the 5th of March. I'm fighting a gentleman. I think his name is Connor. I forgot his last name. I literally only got the call yesterday, but I've been in camp for the last 2 weeks anyway, because I was confident I was going to get a matchup, which I did yesterday. I got the call yesterday from James. Right, this is your guy. This is the day. This is the way. Let's get ready. Go, go, go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to fight. I'm going down a weight category, so I'm going down to lightweight, which is my normal weight anyway. I fought it was light welter last time. Obviously because of the weight difference, and I think it was easy for Jack anyway. I think it was actually Jack who suggested like welter, and I was happy with it, and it was less weight for me to lose, so I was happy with it. But yeah, I'm going back to my natural weight category, which is lightweight. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Been working on loads and loads and loads of different stuff. So yeah, I'm very confident. I haven't got that that fitness and on a lot of weight to lose this time. I mean, I've kind of maintained what I lost last time, so I haven't put a great deal on over Christmas. Obviously I had a good pick out and stuff, but I haven't been absolutely ridiculous with it, so I haven't got that much to lose. I'm fit still from last time, so my camp has been going great so far. Really fit, active, getting at least once a day, got my nutrition on point, lots of water, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Have you knocked the drink on the head as well?
Yeah, I had a drink after my fight. I had a couple of beers. I had a beer with Jack, but really, I don't drink unless it's a family occasion or a special occasion. I don't drink at all. It's not because I have a problem with it. I think I can manage it. Obviously, I did have a problem, but that was because of something. Obviously, it was me trying to turn off to everything, you know. But yeah, I rarely drink.
When you were using it as a coping mechanism, did you find it easy to stop? What was the turning point? I know you said you saw yourself in a picture and you thought physically, and I'm not happy with that, and my son wouldn't want this for me. At what point did you go, right, I need to stop this? And was that difficult itself? Were there any barriers with just stopping it dead, or did you have to kind of wean yourself off it?
It wasn't a weaning process whatsoever. It was me just pure determination and just having a strong mind, really, I suppose. Just, I thought, it's not what we want to be doing. I mean, I was spending a fortune. I'd probably do, not proud of it, but probably a good litre of vodka across a day. And it's a lot, and it's not great for you. And I felt rubbish. I was about to say, yeah, but I felt rubbish, mate.
You can swear on it if you want, mate.
It's got a hangover, and then you fill your face with, you get to co-op, and you have bars of and you get crisps, and then you get a takeaway just to make yourself feel half better. And then you can't be asked to do anything. So then you don't cook because you can't be asked to get off the sofa and you're watching Netflix or whatever. So you go and get a Chinese, and it's just that vicious circle. And as I say, it was just my son in my head, Dad, this isn't what your life is going to be because I'm not here. And I know that's not what he'd want. He'd want his dad to be healthy and happy as happy as you can be. But yeah, it wasn't a struggle whatsoever. It was just one day, and that was it. Me and my wife, Abby, we just stopped. We started walking around Ellswood Lakes every day, and we'd go around twice. It's a really, really beautiful place, and it kind of brought us not peace, but we have. It's close to our hearts, Ellswood Lakes is, just because it kind of helped us through a bad time. So we'd go around there. Obviously, it was lockdown. You couldn't do anything else. So we go around there. It's about 3.5 miles, 4 miles the whole way around. So we try and do it twice in a day. So we got a bit fitter, more healthy. And as you see yourself start to lose weight and you actually want to go out and you look forward to going on your walk. So that was how it all started. And then we both dieted. We both didn't drink. I mean, she wasn't drinking like I was. That was me. But she's like, yeah, we'll have a good diet together. Go and Ellswood Lake, get some exercising. So we started doing keto, which we did for a good while. And yeah, it just all falls into place after you kind of get your mind there. And yeah, just everything went from there. Then really, everything was a lot better. But sorry, mate.
It's okay. Come back when you're ready.
Sorry,
there you go. It's all right. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, where was I? Yeah, and everything just fell into place a bit more there with diet. Going. Stop calling me.
You're a popular guy. Is somebody trying to call you whilst we're doing this?
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Right.
Yeah, well, but yeah,
it's probably a fight promoter.
No, he's ready in it. Well, I forgot I unlocked the gate. Oh God, I've had that a few times over the last month, so I'm just not answering.
That's all right. Yeah, so basically it started to fall back into place, and was that the fight that you needed, the turning point for you to say, right, man, this is where I can get a bit of motivation, get a bit of routine into my life, and
that is exactly what it was, and I find that if I have a routine, it's just a lot better. I'm the person who needs a routine, otherwise it's I don't know. I'm just a person that has to have one. So yeah, routine, and then as I say, when I lost a little bit of weight, I went to 10th Planet, started sparring, started going to jiu-jitsu in the mornings, of a mat on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday sparring, and it just all went from then. And yeah, I said to James, I really need to fight, and he's like, "Son, I think you're ready. Let's go." And then yeah,
Were you absent from work for a long period, or did you continue working at JLR?
I left JLR. I forgot when it was. I think it was probably about 14 months ago. I left. I took a long time off work, and I wasn't ready to go back to all the questions. I mean, obviously it's very, and everybody knew, of course. And then there was the anxiety of like, oh shit, everyone's going to ask this. Everyone's going to say, I'm sorry, or I was going to bring it up, and I couldn't bring myself. Oh.
Somebody phoning you again. It's all right, mate. Don't worry.
Sorry, how do you do not disturb them? I think.
Is it an iPhone?
Yes.
Just put it on airplane mode. Did they keep phoning you off the phone?
Yeah. So
yeah, just put it on airplane mode, but keep your internet connected.
Okay.
This is a tutorial going out on a podcast.
Mate, I'm so sorry. And you know what? I can't do it. I have to call him back. Sorry, I'm really sorry.
Do you want to pause it? Let's hit pause. Call him.
Sorry, yeah. Go on then, I'll call him.
Yeah, I'll pause it and then you could call him. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, a little brief. So James is obviously very popular, and you know, there's a lot of people phoning him. His promoters probably onto him saying, "Right, we got you another fight." Okay, so yeah, so we were talking about previously the fact that you had decided to leave Jaguar Land Rover. Now I know what that could be like, essentially, you know, being absent for such a long period and then having that anxiety about going back, because it's such a close-knit work in whatever department you're in, whatever area. And I think, were you in, was it plant launch?
No, I was in FA2 off track.
End the line. It was, yeah, off track. Yeah, off track.
Yeah, after the end of the line. And obviously there's thousands of people there, and you know many people, you work with many people, you cross shifts, so you're seeing hundreds of people across the day, and it's like, oh, I can't go back to this. I really can't. Yeah, just the questions and I'm sorry, and then explaining, or people being nosy or asking inconsiderate questions, because you know some people do. Some people got no filter. But yeah, it's just I couldn't deal with that, so I decided. For me, for mental health, it was a no-go anymore.
Fair enough. Yeah, no problem. Well, that's completely understandable. Where, just out of curiosity, where did you go? What are you doing now?
I work just as a builder. I work for a friend's firm. I do just site management. You basically just control what happens in different sites. Make sure lads got deliveries, all the things they need, new tools, and just be building inspectors around skips, and just generally do bits and bobs. I mean, I am a bricklayer by trade, so I do put some bricks up, do a bit of, but apart from that, I just open up, close up, just generally manage the contracts.
Good stuff, mate. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be, you know, every day is different. Whereas in a factory, it's boom, same. I mean, I was Land Rover for nearly 8 years, and it's like same door, same car parking spot, same people, same walkway, same vending machine, same meal. So it's good to you know, not have the same repetition. As I say, every day is different.
Yeah, I mean, I left in December 2019, and I was there for nearly 6 years. And I could completely relate, even from being a physio part of the Occy Health Department. Everything that you experienced with the repetition was exactly the same as what we experienced, you know. And now there are some people that really like that, and there are some people that love the routine of knowing, right, these are my working hours, this is my shift pattern. And it always used to make me laugh at the beginning of the year, or in December, we would get the next year's working week shift pattern, so it was already laid out. And the close down, so when the actual plant would be closed down on what certain dates, you know, so there was no, you know, I think you've got a float week as well, haven't you? So you've got, as well as the times that it's shut down, so you know every year, right, it's going to be shut down at half term, it's going to be shut down at 2 weeks in the summer, and it's going to be shut down in December for Christmas, and you might get a float week. And now some people love that. They love the routine of it, and they just think, right, brilliant, this is me. I can wake up, I can come to my job, to the point, or to the extent, if they're on the track, they know that literally they can go, not you know, switch off completely and just physically just get on with that job until it's time to do their shift. Okay, and then you can see And this, I would say, this is one of the faults at the site that we worked at, that I won't mention, but there is no kind of give in regards to people migrating onto different roles, which gives them different challenges, which gets them more mentally stimulated in a different role. And some people can really plateau a little bit in their kind of motivation.
Yeah, I'd say it's almost soul destroying. Some of the things. I mean, some of the way. So the process is what they call it.
That's it. Process.
I mean, I'm surprised, and people have just haven't quit. I mean, I've seen men that crack in there, but yeah, I mean, when it's soul destroying, it is soul destroying. And yeah, they won't unless you're a lick arse, let's say, you don't get anywhere unless you have to tread on people to get anywhere in that place. I mean, that's the sort of place it is. It reminded me a bit of school, to be honest, with the tattletaling and what have you. And it can all get to you quite a lot. I mean, I had some issues with many people, like just silly behaviour, like from school. I'm like, just come to work, do your job, and go home. I don't see why people have to make things like that. It's yeah, as I say, it changes a lot of people there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Now there are, I mean, I came across a few cases, and we were well aware, especially in the Hockey Health Department, of people that had finished their careers, like a long career in the company, and then as soon as they left, I mean, I saw a few people. Literally, we did their kind of their outgoing medical. Do you know what I mean? Or they're ticking off and saying, right, there you go. It's almost like a checklist they have to do before they leave. And they were really nervous. Some people had done like 35, 36 years at that company, and they were really, really scared, because they no longer, it was like, well, what are you going to do at your retirement? And they were just like, some of them, not everyone, but a lot of them had planned for it, and they had basically said, well, I'm going to do this. I'm moving off to Spain. I'm going here. I'm going there. I've got my caravan, etc. I'm going to do gardening. Some of them were going to still continue working. But there were some, I would say, that just didn't have a plan for when they got out. Now, as a former military guy, I know guys that finish their career, and when they finish their career, if they do their full service and they haven't got a plan or something to go into, they're essentially lost. And it's very hard for people that step away from having lived that life with such a routine and such consistency for such a long time to then not have it. It really causes problems, and we're well aware of people that have unfortunately drank themselves or found themselves in the end of a bottle and drank themselves into an early grave, so to speak, or drank away their pension essentially, which is very, very sad, very sad. Of
course. I mean, I think I've known a few people, and they said they took the job as a temporary thing, and then I think one guy I knew who was there for 41 years, and it was supposed to be a week. Supposed to be there for a couple of weeks, is what he said. He did it to please his mom. 41 years later, I was working with him, and yeah, he said, yeah, I heard it a couple of times actually, and it was most of the guys that were there had been there for 23 years, is what I heard, and they'd all said the same thing. It's just a temporary thing to get them by till they found what they wanted to do, and then they just stayed there. And yeah, I mean, I've heard all sorts. I mean, I've heard of people actually dying on the track on the day of their retirement, which is a real shame. And then I've heard of people, selling up, doing everything, and then going to live the dream in Spain. I've heard of all sorts of different things.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Just going back then, kind of like a few steps. Now, yourself and your wife, you've since kind of moved on. You've had another baby, is that right?
Yeah, we've got a little girl. She's nearly 10 months old. Her name's Valentina.
Oh, congratulations, mate. That's great news. Yeah. Was there quite a bit of nerves and kind of apprehension going into the next pregnancy?
Yeah. It's million percent, mate. Obviously, you just think history's going to repeat itself, so you're constantly on alert, especially my wife. We bought like it's like a little clip that goes on a nappy, which is probably about that big. It's like a little breathing monitor which clips onto the nappy, and it links to your app on your phone, and it tells you like any temperature drops, they've moved onto the tummy, all sorts like that. So I think that that helped her quite a lot. But yeah, the anxiety was massive, and yeah, I mean, to an extent it still is, but you yeah, you just have to get control of everything, you know, and make sure that you don't lose it again, because it's easily done, isn't it? But yeah, the anxiety was big, but yeah, sorry.
It's all right, mate. It's all right. I think you're very brave. I mean, I remember obviously initially your first post after Roman had passed, and it's absolutely heartbroken. I was actually I was in my kitchen. I was in tears. I feel pretty sad actually now thinking about it, because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to message you. I think I did send a message to you directly. I didn't want to.
I remember your message. Yeah, I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember you. I think you're one of the first people to actually send me a message.
yeah. I think it's oh God, sorry, mate. I think it's quite a difficult subject, and it was quite. I wanted you to know that, look, you know, there's you can talk. There's people here, but then and at the same time, you think, well, he probably needs some alone time, like what you said, you know, about going back to work and everybody asking, and you know, not that I'd be asking questions. It's just to say, look, you know, don't do anything stupid, please. You know, and just look, there's a support here. You know, and I know previous to that, we did have a clinician-patient relationship. We got on great. It was a brilliant, you know what I mean. I think it was beyond that, to be honest with you. So I wanted you to know, look, there's people there basically, and it's a very hard one. But I'm glad I messaged you. I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, to me, everybody that messaged me, it's greatly appreciated. I mean, I didn't probably message majority of the people back.
And you don't have to, you know, and
No,
I don't think anybody was expecting that either.
like, if you are watching this and you did send me a message, like, it was appreciated. Is I mean, I got a lot of calls. I didn't answer a lot of calls, a lot of texts. I still haven't now, because I still can't bring myself to read them. But but yeah, they are appreciated, and I do know people are here. I mean, going back to doing something stupid, I mean, of course, I mean, it crosses your mind. It really does, because you just want it to stop, and you just want. Right.
So we just took a short break there for the obvious reasons. So I think somebody's peeling onions in the back of your room there, James. Yeah, no, yeah, we needed two plugs needed to take a break. Yeah, virtual hug. I do, mate. That's how I feel. I want to flip in. I want to knock round your house and give you a big cuddle and just go, look, man, we're all here for you. So, I mean, do you remember? Do you remember Earl, the rehab instructor?
Right, fuck off. So, oh my God.
Somebody trying to call you again. It's all right. Do you remember Earl, who used to work with us as well?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was, me and Earl were having a chat about it, and we were broken hearted, and he's gone on and had another boy, and they've named it Roman as well. It's just like, oh, yeah. But he, you know, when we're together, like, he always asks about you, and he's like, you know, I think he does follow you on Instagram as well. So
yeah. I think so too. Oh, that's
yeah,
lovely. That's really...
yeah. So I mean, as difficult as that situation was and still is, and you know, how do you guys, how do you keep going? Like, what is, and I know you've got you've got a daughter now, and you guys are kind of moving on with that family unit, but are you involved with any more charities, or are you still kind of like, I'm not ready to kind of engage in that, or?
No. I still still not really. At the moment, I don't think it'd benefit me talking to somebody. I mean, because I talk to my wife quite openly, and she does back to me too. And I think that's why we've got so far together. Do you know what I mean? We haven't. I mean, especially in lockdown, you couldn't even see or speak to anybody. So all we had each other was each other to speak to. And then you've got so you also mindful of not upsetting the other one with speaking. So, but we had a discussion, and you said we just have to be open with these things. And if you're feeling sad, or there's something you want to say, or there's something across your mind, or you're having a shit day, just say. And if you want to be left alone, or just saying it, was just being completely transparent together. And yeah, and like she was my rock for the whole thing, and she still is, and she always will be, and I'll be forever grateful to her for that. And that's why I love her so much, and that's why she's my best friend, and we get on great. She really is.
That's good, mate. That's really good. What's kind of like the future then for you guys? Is it just each day as it comes, and just you kind of keep fighting? And
yeah, well, as I say, we're fighting soon, and yeah, I mean, it's like we just take each day as it comes. Yeah, as I say, it's always there, but you just learn to deal with it differently. I mean, I found like kind of peace going to I wouldn't say like I go to church, but I spend quite a lot of time around the church grounds, because I know it's fun something coming about it. It's not like I go to church or I found a religion or something, but I don't know, I just find kind of peace in churches for some reason, and that's so sorry, mate. I find peace in churches, and yeah, I don't know why. I think it's just I don't know. I just feel close to my son there.
that's good. That's good. Have you felt the need to engage in religion at all, or do you think?
Not really. I don't really think it's for me. But each their own, as I say. If you are, you are. If you're not, you're not. I don't think it's for me. But I don't know. I don't know why it is. I just found peace going there. It's not like I go into Sunday prayer or whatever. I'll go in. I'll have a walk around. I'll look at the stained glass windows, or I know it sounds a bit morbid, but I'll go around the graveyard and I'll read some gravestones. I don't know why, but it brings me peace. But it just, yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. What I think what we'll do, James, is when eventually we'll finish recording in a minute. I won't keep you too long. But what we'll do is when I do post this on Instagram, I'll put references, to the kind of to any charities that are there to support this, etc. And just and I could just say thank you for basically coming on and sharing your story, and knowing how difficult it must be for you. Well, not knowing how difficult it must be for yourself, but appreciating the fact that you've been so open and been able to discuss it is really nice, mate. It's really good. I'm glad I've got to have this conversation. I mean, hopefully soon, like most blokes, we can probably get together and grab a coffee, or we could either get together on the mat and we can have a roll. And that's where you really start to know people and get to know people, because yourself, the real person, apart from all these barriers that we put up, they go away once you start rolling with somebody on the mat, don't they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's great, mate. Brilliant. Well, listen, thanks very much for your time and the discussion today. I really appreciate it. And for anyone that wants to follow you, they can follow you on Instagram. Are you on Facebook as well, or most social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. My name Jamie Hales, and Instagram Jamie_Roman_Hales. More welcome to follow. I mean, if you've been in a similar situation, I'm happy to help, to advise as best as I can. Or if you want to talk to somebody who's been through it, I'm here. I'm happy to help anybody. It's sometimes easier to talk to somebody who's been through it than the people that haven't. But as I say, if I'm always here for people.
Oh, good, mate. That's real. I'm sure. I'm sure that's really reassuring for some people that, you know, hopefully if they listen to this, they might know somebody or, you know, or maybe experience themselves, that'd be really good. Okay, James, thanks again for your time. All right. I'm going to hit the end record.
Thank you for